This is what my interior used to look like. Boring, outdated, zero light from either ambient light strips, just a little bit right there, a little bit at the feet, and this is what it looks like now. And if you liked all that, in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to transform your BMW interior for 40 bucks on a budget, making your interior look newer, more modern, but not tacky. So let's hop into it. Let me show you how to install this. Simple, clean, and easy. But before we start this install, let's check out what's inside our box to see what we're working with. All right, so this comes from Alibaba, and it seems to be pretty decent packaging. The overall design, it's not too bad, right? It's packaged pretty nicely. So in the box, you come with some trim tools as well as some zip ties for just cable organizing here. And then you got your main door strips, just like that. So those are gonna go on all your doors, right? Or in our back seat, because we don't have any because we only have 4 doors here. Next, we got our dash lights and footlights, right? So this is gonna be the strip this is gonna be the wiring for the dash, as well as the wiring down to the footlights. We can control both of those. And here are the other modules for the doors. So these are door modules, as well as the wiring for those. And here, one of the things we got in our kit, which is a little different than some of the other kits you might see on Alibaba, is we actually got speaker lights. I'm not sure if I'm gonna install them, but I think I might, because I'm pretty sure you can always turn them off. And so why not if you always want more? And then here is a little instruction manual for you. So, all right, let's get into it. All right, the first step in any electrical add-on, especially in a BMW, is to unplug your battery. Make sure that you put something inside the lock to make sure you don't lock yourself out, because it is an electronic trunk and nobody wants to deal with that. So make sure you lock that up to make sure you don't have any issues. Our power disconnected. We're gonna start to remove this front trim panel to make sure we can install our master box behind the dash. It should be pretty easy. Just reach forward here, pretty light. Pop it forward like that. Be very careful because this can easily break. Just like that. Here, kind of pop in. It should pop out like that. And then there will be some wiring on the back for your hazards and your window locks. All right, so now that we got that trim piece all out, so when you're trying to get those buttons out, for the climate control, for the hazard button, there should be kind of a little thing you push down on the bottom, and then push it through the front of your trim piece there. So push that through the front of your trim piece, pull that out, and you should be able to get access. And then for the connector on top of your trim, you should be able to just be able to pull that out, and then you should be able to release that and then pull this out of your car. And so the next step, we're gonna be releasing our front little nav unit here, and then we're gonna start undoing those bolts so we can get to access to the back of that. So, all right, let's continue on with that. All right, now we're gonna work on this center unit for the radio, right? There should be a T20, there should be 2 of them. I'm gonna go ahead and loosen those up. Be pretty light, shouldn't be too much force. All right, so currently I have tapped into the puddle light that sits right here, and we ran power to our master box that's gonna sit behind the dash, just like that. And so then we're gonna run our power over to here for the long strip, and then run our 2 puddle lights over there, and then a short strip on that side. So now let's get running these wires. All right, so we now got both of the footwell lights wired in. There's 2 on each side, so there and there, and there and there. I still need to clean it up, and then I just need to double side those tape to the top of that, and we should have the footwell lights in. The reason I'm doing the footwell lights first is it seems that the short strip and the long strip are a little difficult to get in, but the footlights seem to have a pretty long little bit of length. So I'm trying to get this to kind of base where I should be putting my box at. All right, now that we got proof that the module is getting power, I went over here, I pulled out this vent. It's pretty easy, just pull that out. And then I stuck a little cable puller right there. You might be able to see it right there, that little silver thing. And so I'm going to stick the light strip with double-sided tape to the bottom of the vent, and then with the shorter side, with the short side LED strip, stick it to the bottom, and then I'm gonna drag that wire back over here and plug it into the main box. All right, so I got both feet footwell lights connected up, and so now I got it all put back together. And so I found that the door strip was a little too short, so it includes this little splitter wire over here. So I'd suggest plugging it into the short side, right, and then doing that, right, because if you plug it into the long side, well, if you plug the long side strip into this little splitter, it only lets up half the strip. So put this little splitter into the short side so you can reach over to the left side, so you have enough space to go over to the right and do all your stuff over here that you need to do on the right. So I suggest doing that, and that should be the way you should go about doing things. So I'm about to put in the short strip now. I'm just feeding the wire over to this vent over here. Dude, I now got that first light strip in, even on the left side. It's all double-sided taped in. You can kind of see it, but you really can't. That looks so clean. The top and the bottom, the dash. All right, now I gotta work on getting this side in. That looks so good. This is insane. It's just the dash, but I've never seen anything like this. There's so many different colors you can pick too. This blows all the other ambient lighting out of the water. You can still see that little light right there, but it doesn't matter. Damn. All right, good morning, and it's now day 2 of our install on our ambient light kit. So yesterday, I installed the dash modules and the footwell lights, and we got those all to work, but those did take me a decent amount of time. So today, we're gonna be working on the door cards and as well as the back seat as well. So the kit comes with speaker lights, the door card lights, the handle lights, and then your standard little LED strip across the top. I think I'm gonna install all of them just because you can always turn them off, right? I'm a little worried about it looking tacky, but if you bought it, you have it, you know? Install it, right? It's just one of those things where you don't want to go back in and install it later. So, all right, first step, there's a little piece right there. You can see it right there. That's where you put your pop tool or your trim tool, and then you're able to pop off this front cover. There's gonna be 2 bolts there, and then you can pop off this door panel, pull slowly from the side. All right, finally got the door panel all off. Just gotta disconnect your emergency handle opener, a couple wires for your switches, ambient lighting, and your lighting underneath your car. And once you connect all of that, you can pop off the door panel over here, and that's where we're gonna be installing door handle light, as well as our overhead light and then our pocket bin light. So let's get to it, and let's start working on this. I'm gonna take this inside so I can work in a little nicer space. All right, no going back now. I ripped out the old ambient light strip out from there. How I did it was this came off, and then I was able to push it forward and then jam a small screwdriver to pull that lighting out. So now I'm gonna go in from the back and feed this through and feed it all the way to the end. This is a little different for the 4 series because the 3 series, this handle goes all the way up to the trim, which means you can hide it inside there and you don't have to do this. But the problem with the 4 series is there's that awkward gap right there. So that's kind of what you have to do for the 4 series. This is honestly one of the worst arts and crafts projects I've ever had. So I put the little handle light in there, placed the box right there, and I was able to take out the original strip, and took a lot of effort and a lot of drilling, a little bit of modification of the door panel right there, but I was able to fit it through, ran the wire to here, and so now these should be all good. All I gotta do is power these up and plug this door panel back in, and we can see how it looks. All right, we finally got that door in. The door pockets are working. They are lit up. the under don't look at that. Yeah, I messed up there, drilled in the wrong spot, but it's not the most noticeable thing in the world. I'm gonna try and fill that later. But yeah, I got that door trim in. It looks nice. Got the speakers. Honestly, I was a little worried that the speakers would be too much, but I actually really like the way they look, especially in person. I think they look better in person than they do on camera. So, all right, the other side looks absolutely fantastic. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the driver's side. I'm gonna show you guys what the front looks like, and then we're gonna jump onto the back to do the back. All right, and this is V2. This is the driver's side door panel, right? So as you can see, all the wires are cleanly tucked and routed. So that right there goes up to the strip. This one loops around, down, over to here, and then the top one goes up to there. So these all go underneath everything else like that, so they can cleanly be out of the way once you add the door panel on. We got the speaker glued in, and some spade connectors to connect up to the car, so this can be removable from the car, and just like that, it should be able to be plug and play into the car without any issue. We did have to remove the stock light strip and little module, but that should be no issue. So just do that, everything should be good. All right, guys, we finally finished up, and we got all these LEDs fully installed inside of our interior. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you what it looks like, fully completed. Just the front dash and the front doors. I didn't get around to doing the rears because this mod actually takes a decent amount of time, especially if you want to do it quality, making sure everything's routed nice. The extra lights you add in the door pockets and the handles and everything else like that take an extra minute than you'd actually expect. As a reminder, this was a $40 kit from Alibaba, so anybody should be able to really afford this mod. I honestly think it has completely changed my overall look at the interior at night, and I love driving with it. I'm not a huge fan of the moving lights while driving. It's a little distracting to me, but the overall solid colors, I love them. They look great. All right, so I'm gonna show you the overall startup and what it looks like, and then as well as I'm gonna show you kind of the different modes it has. All right, and this is an example of some of the movement lighting that they have. It kind of reminds me of a Ferris wheel. There's tons of different modes you can have inside those movements. So basically you can pick like a style. This is called sport, and then there's like a bunch of different like modes where it'll change colors but do the exact same kind of style like that. As you can see here, I'll show you. Those door pockets still work just like that. So door pockets and everything else like that, they light up great. I don't think that the speakers are too much. I think that they're quite nice, you know. Same with the footwells. The footwells I think look great. Dash is great. I like how the doors don't necessarily point directly at you. I think it's very cool on the dash, but I feel like it would have been too much if those doors you can see the direct strip. So it's kind of cool how it kind of just like underlines. So the speaker kind of complements that by giving you a little bit of color, like more color than you'd expect, while the doors are kind of more. It's like a good like breaking even from bright, medium, and kind of low. So it's very nice how it kind of all blends together here. But overall, this whole entire kit was fantastic. So I love this thing. I believe like any person with an F30, F32 should be using these because they're just overall great. Like for 40 bucks, like come on. And here's some more kind of solid color shots, as you can see here. This is kind of the BMW orange. It matches quite nicely. So on that color wheel, you can kind of find what you find to be closest. And I feel like if you want to match the whole entire interior, all that BMW orange, you can match perfectly with the lights. If you just want to keep it kind of an OEM plus look, you don't need to put those speakers in. I like it because it makes it a little bit more modern, but as you can see here, it completely adds to the overall aesthetic of the interior, and you can change the brightness and everything else like that. And it's not too bad, not too bad. So, honestly, from Alibaba for 40 bucks, I'm super happy with the overall quality of this kit. The app is super easy to use. It took a little bit of setting up and finagling with the settings of it, but to get it all to kind of match up and sync properly. But after you install and after you plug it in, it completely easily syncs up to the whole entire modules. The modules do it all itself. The second they get power, it's all good. So for 40 bucks, what do you guys think? Was this worth it? Was it decent, easy mod? Modernizes the interior. You don't have to have an M4 to do it or anything else like that. You can do this to a base model. You can do this to an M4. It doesn't really matter. I feel like it can fit in any type of car you actually really want. This is a universal kit. So if you don't have a BMW, you can still add this into your car. It's not even a BMW specific thing. It just happens to fit the BMW speaker grills. So I'm gonna drop a link inside the description. In the comments, let me know what your favorite color is. Would you guys drive with the moving ambient lights? Would you drive a solid? But I really just like to get you guys' opinion on this. Do you guys think this is worth it? Like, would you guys do it to your car? And it really helps if you guys would hit the like button, subscribe, because it helps the algorithm kind of reach new people who haven't seen content like this. So I was like, thank you guys again, and peace.